How is this thing so beautiful?
Why?
Hey guys, this is Varun from Guiding Tech and this is the Galaxy A71. Now usually in all of the reviews that I do on this channel, the phone will rests on the desk while I explain to you about how my experience with the phone has been. Not this time around because I really don't want to take my hands off of this thing. Well, to be honest, this phone is a really great phone and I love it. Though it may not be the perfect phone for a lot of you guys out there. Wanna know why? Well, stay tuned till the end of this video and I'll tell you exactly why in my long-term review of the Galaxy A71. Let's get started. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the design. This thing is an absolute beauty. Now, it's like Samsung looked at all of the reviews that we reviewers gave about the M series and they're like, okay, you don't like the design? Take the A series. And it's the perfect response. The phone feels premium through and that is despite having a flat display and a glass-stick build. Like this is not even glass, it's glass-stick, but it feels so good and so premium. Now, one of the major factors, however, why this phone feels so good is the overall design. Not only is it quite ergonomic, but this is quite slim. Add to that the fact that this is under 180 grams, which is something that you notice the moment you take it out of the box. I mean, I've been using this phone on and off while actually using it as a primary and also as a secondary while using other devices. And my hand just keeps coming back to the Galaxy A71 just because it feels so comfortable and so lightweight. I mean, in terms of design, Samsung has absolutely nailed it with the A71. And we don't do rating systems here, but whatever the maximum score is, this phone gets it. But it's not like that the design is where the good things end. Like we all know Samsung is the pioneer when it comes to displays. Like their displays are the best and the Galaxy A71 is no different. Now I'll admit that the lack of a higher refresh rate might be a bummer to a lot of you guys. And to be honest, even I was, not that impressed from the get-go since I was coming from a 90Hz display, but after a while, I really did get used to it. Also, you can always reduce the animations to get a more smoother feel. Now skip past that and the panel on this phone is amazing. The color reproduction is great and watching Netflix and HDR content on this phone is an experience like none other. I was actually skeptical about that Infinity O display notch at the top, but to be honest, it's the same as having a water drop notch and to be very frank, after a while you get accustomed to it. Now, having used flagship devices as my primary for a very long time, my major requirement from any device, which is my primary device, is the camera. So before using the A71, I actually reviewed the Galaxy M31, both the review and a camera comparison of which are live on this channel and the links for which will be in the description box and you should definitely check them out. But in a nutshell, what Samsung has done is that they've worked a lot on the cameras. For instance, with the camera comparison of the Galaxy M31, I posted some random images on my social media and everyone thought it was either from a Realme device or a Redmi device. But the reality is that Samsung has actually, worked a lot and pretty much gives both the brands a run for their money. So as such, my expectations from the Galaxy A71's camera, they were pretty high since this thing costs exactly a double of the Galaxy M31. And to be very honest, I wasn't let down. So the camera on the Galaxy A71 is mostly great. The results produced are sharp and unless there's a singular dominant color in the scene, the saturation is also quite controlled. However, as you can see from this shot of a bush, you'll see just how much Samsung loves to play with saturation. As for human subjects, the phone manages to get the skin tones on point and the overall structure also looks pretty good. One complaint that I do have, however, is that the edge detection could have been better. Now, this is something that can be easily fine-tuned with a software update and going by Samsung's track record, they actually have a good history of providing camera updates in their new software patches. So, I can only expect this thing to get better with time. Another major plus point is that the Galaxy A71 has the Snapdragon 730, which unlocks a whole world of Gcam ports. The one that I have installed here works pretty good and the overall results produced, they're quite equivalent to that of Pixel devices, just with a tad bit more saturation. Overall, what I'm trying to say is that the camera of the Galaxy A71 does not disappoint at all. There are certain areas in which it lacks, but installing a Gcam port on it makes up for it. That said, if you'd still like to see an in-depth comparison of the Galaxy A71 with any other smartphone, feel free to shout down below and I'll do my best to do an in-depth camera comparison like we do here on GT. Okay, now the Samsung Galaxy A71 comes with One UI 2.0, which is equal parts good and bad. Good because the whole skin is designed for one-handed usage, and with a screen size of 6.7 inches, that's quite helpful. Also, Samsung has come a long way in terms of its overall UI, and everything feels quite snappy and fast. That said, one thing that I've noticed with Samsung devices is that with time, they do tend to get slow. Now, I've only had the Galaxy A71 with me for about a month now, and so far there hasn't been a massive difference in terms of speed, but obviously with the amount of apps that we've installed on this thing, there have been instances where the phone has become a slight bit slow. Now, I'll still give the phone a benefit of the doubt, so I suggest that you guys stay subscribed to our channel because I am planning on doing a 3-month or maybe even a 6-month long-term review of the Galaxy A71. So maybe we'll get to see if the phone actually slows down or not when a Snapdragon chipset is on board. Now the phone packs in a beefy 4500 mAh battery, which is pretty good considering the thickness of the overall device. And it's not like this thing drains very fast. I mean, I can easily take a day of using the maps, watching a show on Netflix, listening to some music and playing a little bit of game here and there, and still have about 25 to 30% of juice remaining at the end of the day, which sounds pretty good. I mean, I can still watch a show at the end, basically before going to bed, and I don't have to worry about charging that much. Speaking of which, the phone actually comes with support for 25-watt fast charging, which is actually supplied in the box, and it takes less than 90 minutes to fully juice this puppy up, which is pretty good. And well, it's not as good as the market standards or maybe the competition standards, but it's not bad either. So while we're on the topic of charging speeds, here's one more thing that I want to point out. So obviously the 25-watt charging is not just in numbers but overall charging speeds also. Obviously it's behind the competition that offers 30 watt, 40 watt, 45 watt, 50, 55, 65, all the big numbers. But one thing to note in all of those charging speeds is that all these brands, they use proprietary chargers, which basically means you're locked onto their own charger. And if you lose something, you basically have to buy a new charger every time. What Samsung and a lot of Google phones also use is USB PD, basically USB power delivery. And what that does is that you can use any USB PD charger out there and you can get the same speeds for charging regardless of which charger you use. I mean, you can use any charger, not just Samsung, to charge this thing up. And that is something that comes really handy when you're trying to live the USB Type-C life. It basically means that you can buy a single charger, a single Type-C fast charger, and you can use it to charge your laptop, your smartphone, your Nintendo Switch, maybe your headphones and whatnot. Basically everything that supports USB Type-C. So the comfort of having a single charger in your backpack is something that the Galaxy A71 helps you with. Okay, so now it's time to address the elephant in the room, not me, but the processor, which is the Snapdragon 730. See, it's not like the Snapdragon 730 is a bad chipset. In fact, I was coming from an 855 plus smartphone and I was also using an 865 chipset on the side, and using the 730 made pretty much no difference to me, to be very honest. That said, your requirements could vary a lot because for me, I don't game that much. If you're a gamer or a performance enthusiast, the 730 is quite limiting. I mean, you can't even play PUBG at the highest settings, and if you're spending 30,000 and not getting maximum performance from a device, that could be a deal breaker. And then I can totally see a lot of you guys skipping the A71 simply because of that reason. And if I was a gamer, I would totally do that as well. For 30,000, you can get the Realme X2 Pro and you can get the OnePlus 7, and there are a lot of phones, even the Redmi K20 Pro for that matter, which offer flagship grade performance for a much lesser price tag, which is great. So what I'm trying to say here is that the Galaxy A71, well, it's definitely not for the performance enthusiast. That said, if you're okay with up to 80 to 85% of the performance of a flagship chipset, the Galaxy A71 offers an experience like none other. What it does is that it packs in a premium build quality. The form factor is great, the cameras are good, the overall UI is great, and obviously there's the Samsung brand value. Everything on this phone screams premium, and it definitely feels like that. So I mean, you have to decide what kind of a phone are you looking for. If you're a gamer or a performance enthusiast, this is not for you. But for anyone else who can compromise a little bit on terms of performance, this thing right here is such a great device that I don't have words enough to tell you how good this thing is. Well, that was my review of the Galaxy A71. If you agree with me and would like to buy the Galaxy A71, there will be a buying link in the description box of this video. Also, if you have any more queries or have a different opinion about the Galaxy A71, feel free to comment below and I'll try to answer them with the best of my knowledge. This is Varun from Guiding Tech, and I'll see you in the next one.